Hey guys, this is Charles from Brooklyn Traders. I just wanted to do a quick recap video about an unpublished video that I didn't put out there as part of my hantavirus analysis. Um, After I recorded the hantavirus analysis, I realized that I didn't go into the modality as to why I felt, at least from the chart, why I felt this may have been something. I saw a combination of a few chart patterns that I know and recognize, and independently of one another, they are very powerful. Okay, but when you put them together, they become even more powerful, even very rare. Okay, that has to do with a chart pattern here I saw on SPY and one I saw on the VIX, and they were both firing off pretty much at the same time, which let me know that we were going to see some downside in the market, from which we took a position. And so, again, that was yesterday, the day before, on the 11th. Uploaded the video, I believe, on the 12th. And yeah, this is what the chart looks like yesterday, in yesterday's trading session. It is early in the morning here in New York. And yeah, this is what happened. Market pulled all the way back. We were loaded in puts. We took advantage of this, and the same chart pattern that told me to load up on puts also told me to go long here. Okay, and it has everything to do with the VIX. Again, as opposed to boring you with the details, let's actually watch the unreleased video that I recorded yesterday in real time. All right. Check it out right here, y'all. So, one very key and important factor about markets, okay, especially markets that move violently off of news, is that normally before you get a crash or any kind of huge correction, there's usually a narrative that goes with it, right? And so we've seen it happen with tariffs. We've seen it happen with oil in the Strait of Hormuz. We definitely seen it with COVID. And so um, I have a chart here of SPY, and I got a chart of the VIX, and I'll tell you what correlations are here. Okay, so this is the Strait of Hormuz stuff. Down, 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 down. Oil's going up. They announced somewhere around here that, hey, we're at a ceasefire or something like that, and then boom, right? And then there was another announcement, then boom. Now, here's the craziness, right? The actual situation in, Iran and the U.S. has not changed. I mean, there is kind of a ceasefire, but both sides are still, using weapons of violence against each other. And so, I mean, there are trade proposals going back and forth, but nothing has really substantially changed, right? I mean, the Strait of Hormuz, from what I understand, is still locked down. And so, pretty much the move that made this, right, is still active, right? The price of oil, let me just kind of pull it up on this chart, is still kind of elevated, right? I mean, right now we're in a channel, and again, this is just completely headline driven. It's like, oh, we got a ceasefire, we're gonna make a deal. Oh, no, we're not. Ceasefire deal. Oh, nope, no, we're not. And now we're just back here where, again, the latest round of negotiations have not yielded anything, and we're back stuck in a quandary, right? But why are we looking at this chart? I'll tell you, okay? Now, the thing that was very interesting about this whole hantavirus thing is that it's a narrative, right? It's a fear driven narrative. And so there's a pretty easy short setup you can see here on SPY where you take a 20 or 30-day chart, okay? You look at it, then you pick a high bar, which is right here. You get a close below the high bar. And so normally when this happens, right, this, you could say, would be preceded with some kind of downside move about 65 to 70% of the 70% of the time, okay? But we kind of kept going up, right? And then as you can see here, we made a fresh high bar, right? And then we had another low bar, right? So basically, the way that this thing works is that we made a high bar. We get the pullback, which should have been preceded with at least one more candle to the downside. That didn't happen. Again, we get another high bar again within the last 20 or 30, right? And we got another close below the high bar. And again, this should have closed at about a 90% rate, right? And that didn't. Not only did the trade invalidate, but it invalidated pretty much on the second day here. Okay, if we kind of hung out here and then we went lower, then the trade would have been valid. This should have paid out at about a 90% rate, and it didn't. Right, and again, another high bar here. Right, fresh high bar. So every time this thing happens, it resets. Another close below, and nothing. We just keep squeezing. Right, and so I'm looking at this and I'm seeing 1, 2, 3. And once you get to definitely this bar and that bar being preceded by that one, this is a statistically unlikely event. I've been tracking this kind of setup for years, and I've only seen it invalidate twice. And then kind of you get the meat and potatoes at least on the third time that it happens. I mean, normally, again, this is about 65%. This should have been about a 90%, and this should have been way over 100. And no, we just kind of kick higher, right? And guys, listen, any kind of trade setup can be invalidated, but I've only seen this once before, and I seen it during the pandemic. That's why I'm doing this watch list, because I've only seen like this kind of setup being validated 2 and 3 times during the pandemic, like once, right? And we've seen what the pandemic was about, right? Just high bar, high bar, high bar, invalidation, and then just one day, literally the world came to a stop. Okay, what does this do? What does this have to do with the VIX? Easy, I'll tell you. Okay. Basically, so SPY was green today, QQQ was green today, IWM, IWM, right, and Dow was green today. So all 4 indexes, okay, the Russell, Dow, SPY, and QQQ were all green today. And guess what was also green? The VIX. So this is a completely different setup than what I just told you. In fact, it's the inverted, right? So again, you have a low bar here from the previous 20. Then you get a close above that low, and here it is. But specifically with the VIX, if you see that all of the indexes are green and the VIX is green, then that is not good. Okay, that is not good. And again, this is not something that happens a whole lot, right? But when it does happen, you gotta pay attention. This is a huge reversal signal to the downside, and the inverse is also correct. If you've seen that the market is red and the VIX is red, usually there'll be a violent reversal to the upside. Okay. You could say these are 2 very simplistic setups, right? This is called the high of the low period. Some people call it the turtle play, or the low or the high period. Over here, that was just, again, invalidated multiple times on SPY. Okay, I think there was only one invalidation on the Qs. I didn't look at the other indexes because it's SPY and Qs. Come on, guys, what else are we looking at? But again, this is just a very complete odd set of circumstances that just happened to happen during this whole hantavirus thing. Okay, I spent 8 minutes on this. Maybe I'll patch it in. Maybe I won't. But yeah, this was the reason why we wanted to pay attention to the hantavirus. All right, team. So we just looked at the trading setups. We looked at the modality from the previous day's video. We did a kind of a video wrap so that you could see some of the rules, the setup, how it works. You see, yesterday we closed. That's going to be on the 12th. Right now it's 6:30 a.m. Wednesday the 13th, May the 26th. We had a close here of 7:38, and right now SPY's pushing 739.90. We just hit a high of 740. And Q's, we had to close at 707, and we're pushing at a high at 712. 25 there. And again, these are live levels, but I wanted to talk about what happened yesterday, which actually made me switch our bias, right? So we're gonna pull the chart out. So take a look here. As you can see, as we had a corresponding low on the SPY, we had a corresponding high, right? So you can see right at 11 o'clock, 11 a.m. Down here, you seen that the VIX hit a high right there at, not exactly 11, but you get the point, right around this time period. Again, SPY low, VIX high, right? But then something strange happened. VIX began to crater, and it was right after this kind of initial pop here, right around this price level. I noticed that the VIX went red for the day, right? So notice, right, from our previous low bar setup, right? The markets went red. The VIX was red. And then not only was it red, but then it continued lower, right? And so I knew that that was a major buy signal. So I switched my bias, went from net short to net long. And yeah, we're going to see what the market has for us on open. But I'm looking for the market to take another leg higher. Again, this is Charles, Brooklyn Traders. I know this is very confusing, but once you've been looking at this a while, it becomes easy. All right, a nice reversal setup on these two different patterns. Thanks, team, and take care. Good luck.